extremely well this evening, and I hope you're in the mood for some creepy encounters from Reddit. Tonight's encounters are wild, so buckle up. Now, get comfortable, get cozy, relax, and get ready to be spooked. Now, with that being said, and of course, as always, without any further ado, let's get into tonight's stories, shall we? Alrighty, so the first story for tonight was originally posted by a Redditor called vanillaave, and their story is called Very Unsettling Encounter with Stranger at My Door. This happened about 3 years ago, but I still think about it from time to time, and it still creeps me out. I'm 21 male at the time, had just moved into a new apartment on the first floor of a building. It was late one night and my roommate was out when somebody knocked on the door. This was not uncommon, as we were in college and my roommate had friends that would come by to hang out at all hours of the day. I just kind of figured that it was one of his friends, so I get up and I check the peephole. Staring right back at me through the peephole is an eyeball pressed against it. Again, this is also something that one of our friends might do just to be funny. I chuckled and I opened the door. Now, I was very surprised to see a guy in his mid-20s that I didn't recognize. He was strange, to say the least. He was very hyper and immediately launched into a kind of like door-to-door salesman pitch. I can't remember exactly what he was even selling, but it was something about the local university, which I also attended at the time. Now, the whole time that he was talking, he kept looking past me into the apartment. He was fidgeting and even standing on his tiptoes to see inside. So basically, really inconspicuous. I see how it is. But still, I just thought the guy was weird and nervous and might not have been all there. I politely declined to buy anything from him, but he wouldn't take no for an answer. I finally had to be pretty stern in telling him that I wasn't interested. He finally accepted defeat, and as I was closing the door, he put his hand out and stopped the door from closing. Oh no, oh hell no. Before I can be like, what the F, dude, he smiles at me and says, I like Mario Kart on the Nintendo 64 too. Now, me and my roommate had been staying up late into the night playing Mario Kart 64 in my bedroom for the past several days before that. But there was nothing that he could see from the apartment entrance that had anything to do with Mario Kart. So I was taken aback and trying to add things up in my head, and I confusingly asked, how do you know that I play Mario Kart? He then got super nervous and said, oh, I just thought that anyone with a couch like that would be in obviously it wasn't because of my grandma's old couch. Remember, it's a first floor apartment that backed up to woods. My roommate got home shortly after that and I immediately tell him about the encounter. He was freaked out too, and so we start investigating. See, I love that. Those are my kind of people. I mean, I would do exactly the same. I would get to the bottom of that. At first, it seemed as if there was no way to even see inside my bedroom. My blinds were always down. We went outside and tested it, and we found that the only way to see inside would have been if you had your face right up against the window, and even then you kind of had to crouch and close one eye just to get a glimpse of the inside. A couple more creepy details. My window was over a balcony, and the Nintendo 64 console itself was stored inside of the TV stand and was not visible. You would only be able to see it while we were actively playing, which we never did until we were a little stoned and it was like 2 a.m. So basically, this effing creep had been jumping the railing to our balcony, pressing his face against my window and watching us play Mario Kart in the middle of the night. We never saw the guy again, but needless to say, I was pretty paranoid for a while after that. Yeah, no shit. I mean, I constantly checked my windows and woke up in the middle of the night, paranoid that he was standing just a couple feet away, watching me sleep. Just a very unsettling encounter. I'm glad that nothing more ever came of it, and that I never saw him again, but I have always wondered what his motives were. You guys, you know what? I think peeping Toms don't always need motives other than pleasure, right? Or it could be that this particular person maybe had a crush on the Redditor, which is not me downplaying what happened, and which is not me saying that it is okay to spy on people in the middle of the night. That is wild. That is stalker behavior. I don't know if I would be able to stay in that apartment knowing that somebody had been watching me. I mean, another possibility is cameras, I guess. I mean, that is something that I would maybe immediately check. You're renting a place, it's not yours. So I would start checking for hidden cameras, and I would turn that apartment upside down looking for them. Either way, whether it's cameras or whether it's this guy having his face pressed against the window and jumping a balcony, either way, it is incredibly creepy, incredibly concerning, and incredibly inappropriate. And I'm really glad that nothing more came of it after that. But I understand the paranoia, you know. Once you realise that somebody has been watching you, that is a perfectly normal reaction to think that they still are, right? Like I said, that is probably why I wouldn't be able to stay in that apartment just on the off chance that this guy is still watching me. Like, absolutely not. No thanks. 22 female was on vacation in San Antonio with a friend for New Year's. In hindsight, I would have picked anywhere else to celebrate, but I had never been to San Antonio before, so I thought it would be cool. When we pull up to the place, it's very obvious that it's not in a great neighborhood, but it was extremely cheap and within walking distance to the Riverwalk. I'm no stranger to questionable neighborhoods, so I wasn't too concerned about the area, as it was all in all very quiet. On the day of New Year's Eve, my friend got food poisoning. Oh, that is awful. That is awful. And asked me to get some stuff from the gas station down the road. I wasn't comfortable taking their truck, and since it was only an 8-minute walk, I started heading out. I got to the gas station, no problem, but they didn't have Pedialyte, so I started walking to another gas station, only 5 minutes away. Now this is where things get sketchy. I'm halfway to the next gas station and I notice that there's 2 homeless guys walking around outside their tents next to the street I am on. Originally, I was going to walk right past them and pay them no mind. But when I got closer, I could tell that they noticed me and were staring at me hard. I'm 5'5", not super athletic, pretty strong, but I'm not taking my chances with 2 grown men. I mean, I wouldn't either. Instead of going straight past them, I turned the corner. I assumed they would go about their business and leave me alone. That's a dangerous thing to assume, though. Now I hear one of them say, "Hey, Randy, come over here." And I glance behind me, and now I see 3 men following me. They are far enough away where I'm not worried, but I am extremely cautious. I glance behind me again after a few minutes. They're hunched over, huddled up like they're trying to sneak up on me, but much closer this time. I mean, they're huddled up. Absolutely not. No, thank you. I make the smart decision to say F the Pedialyte and round the corner back towards our place. And maybe 1 or 2 blocks away when I check behind me again, and they have also rounded the corner and are walking quickly. Jesus. Like, this is so scary because this is one 22-year-old woman on her own being followed by 3 is even more terrifying when you're being followed by 3 grown-ass men. I mean, because what are your options really? Do you run? Do you confront them because you are massively outnumbered? Do you call for help? But, them seeing you on the phone might trigger them somehow to do something. Like, what do you do, right? So I'm really glad that this Redditor made the decision to turn around and book it back to the place where she was staying at. And I am really glad that this Redditor at least was faster than these men. She might not have been stronger. I mean, one 22-year-old woman versus 3 fully grown men. I don't know. But at least she was faster. I mean, getting the Pedialyte delivered is the least of her worries, to be honest. Wow. What makes this even scarier is the fact that the Redditor was completely unfamiliar with the area as well. The Redditor mentioned that she had never been in San Antonio and that it was kind of a sketchy neighborhood to begin with, which just makes it even harder to come up with like an escape plan, right? It's never okay, and it is always terrifying to be, to be followed by somebody. But if it happens in your hometown or city where you live, you might know of some alternate routes, some escape routes. I mean, this is just incredibly terrifying, like, wow. Obviously, those men had questionable intentions, to put it very, very, very mildly. Alrighty, moving on to the last one for this evening, and this one is absolutely wild, okay? Now, I'm definitely gonna butcher this username. Feel free to make fun of me in the comments. Just know that I am doing my best, okay? So, this story was originally posted by a Reddit user called pothosbabebelikov, and their story is called Car Accident Turned Creepy. Leaving my friend's house, I accidentally backed into a brick mailbox. That happens. It's unfortunate, but that happens. My bike rack hit the mailbox, so my car was okay, but it completely demolished the mailbox. I mean, no big deal, right? That's why we have insurance, right? I went to the neighbour and I told them what happened, and I gave them my insurance phone number and name. Now, all I got from him was his first name. From the get-go, this dude was creepy. He kept hitting on me, trying to date me, specifically trying to feed me. I mean, what? So let me get this straight. Somebody completely demolishes your mailbox with their car and are polite enough to actually come knock on your door and give mum's. I'm attending out-of-state college and my parents are divorced. Now the guy I backed into, Robert, that's the only info I got off of him, immediately began to text me and call me. What a surprise. He was insistent that it was better for both of us to just pay out of pocket for the mailbox, sending me links to companies that could fix it for $500 and demanding I go on a date with him so I could give him the cash for the repair and he could feed me. Okay, Robert, tone it down. I mean, a couple notches, right? I don't know what his deal with the food was. I declined everything, but started to get annoyed by his constant texts and calls. I mean, that would start to annoy anyone, right? Now finally, after 2 days of it, with my responses only being, please contact my insurance. That is a good response, but I mean, you don't have to entertain that for 2 days. I sent him a text saying that he was harassing me. I mean, good, because he is. If he is texting you and calling you about that for 2 days, that is harassment. Now I blocked him, but he made a new number and threatened to report it as a hit and run to the police. I'm in law school, okay? This wasn't a hit and run. I blocked the second number. Then he used a new number to ask me if I wanted him to send a screenshot or video of the accident to his insurance. I admit this made me angry. I called this number and I dug my nails so hard into my thigh that I drew blood as he threatened reporting things, asking me on a date again, and trying to entice me to just pay cash. I finally screamed, "Don't contact me again, you effing censored piece of S." Now my dad heard me and he was upset that I said that to someone. Well, Dad, your daughter is being harassed. Come on. So he was upset that I had said that to someone that I was in an accident with, and that I said that to a guy who thought I was cute and just wanted a date. Okay, it's kind of concerning that the dad has no issues with this. So right, clearly the dad knows that this guy has been contacting his daughter and has been asking her out on dates, has been trying to persuade her to pay in cash for this mailbox while it should be going through insurance, and has made 2 alternate phone numbers already to try and contact his daughter, and the dad is just okay with this. He's like, "Oh, why did you have to call him that? That's really inappropriate. Like, I'm really upset." No, be understanding, be supportive, what the hell. Anyways, I blocked the third number. Now the next day, he reaches out again to tell me I gave him the wrong policy number. I told him I didn't. He then said it would be easier to pay cash, that I was the problem, etc. He was talking to his insurance, I guess, and began trying to validate my info. He had my mum's name, address, and phone number. I verified it, told him to not contact me again, and I blocked his new number. That's number 4. Next morning, super early, I get a text basically saying he finished the claim and that I was awful for making it harder than it needed to be by going through insurance and not going on a date with him. Yeah, Please, Robert, please, just leave it alone with the dates, please. She's not interested. I took the phone to my dad this time. I showed him the text and I filled him in. My dad, a pretty scary dude, then calls Robert. He answers, "Shoot, I knew you were into me. Want to come over?" Obviously, this is what Robert says because Robert thinks that the Redditor is phoning him, right? Now my dad got very mad. My dad said that this was beyond harassment. This was his final warning to not contact me ever again, that we didn't care how he reported it, etc. Now Robert began saying that I came on to him and offered, well, intimacy as payment, invited him to my house, and I was basically a honeybee word. Wow. Like, how can you be so damn evil? I mean, you have at this point made, 6 phone numbers just to harass this girl, and now you are pinning it all on her, being really disrespectful, just so you can get off the hook because you're scared of her dad. Like, sorry, but that is pathetic, that is concerning, that is all types of effed up. I'm just gonna say it as it is. Now again, he was instantly blocked. The police was contacted this time. The insurance was notified. Everything. Good. Now, the next day, we spoke to the insurance. We filed a protective order. And I got another text from Robert telling me that I shouldn't have involved the police. By now, this is the 7th number, and I've blocked it too. Now I notify the police again that he contacted me. I go to stay at my dad's house because Robert doesn't have my dad's address. My dad is also very tall and scary, and he loves his Second Amendment. Late last night, we were watching Star Wars, and this was with my dad and my older brother, and then the doorbell rings, right? So my dad goes to see who it is, and it is effing Robert again. But this time he is carrying a trash bag filled with things I left at his house. Okay, Robert, not sketchy at all. We are not at all continuing this sketchy streak that you've got going on here. Like, what the actual F? Now, I call the police. My dad is going ballistic, the whole deal. Now the police come over and they actually arrest the guy. What he had in the bag was lingerie, a knife, lip balm, and a Dita Von Tess fetish book. Okay. Like, what is this guy trying to achieve? Like, how is this gonna get you the girl, right? You are acting like an absolute nutter. The police actually arrested him. Like, I don't know what Robert thought this was gonna achieve. Now, plot twist. The guy doesn't even own the house whose mailbox I backed into. He's also an illegal immigrant. He is married and he is being deported. Now, I feel awful that he's being deported. I genuinely think he wanted to, I can't say this on YouTube, but he definitely had very bad intentions. I go back to school in a few days and I'm so terrified he or somebody else will follow me. Like, I understand that. I mean, this Redditor has been stalked. I actually feel sorry for the Redditor, that she feels guilty about Robert being arrested and possibly deported, right? But let's not forget, not forget this is a dude who made 7 phone numbers just to harass this one girl who happened to back into the mailbox of a house he doesn't even own. I mean, I shared most of my thoughts while I was telling this story, but I honestly cannot wrap my brain around what these people like Robert, are trying to achieve. If you are interested in someone and you really want to date with someone, how is stalking them, harassing them, threatening them, creating 7 phone numbers in order to stalk them, showing up to their house with a bag full of stuff, including, sexually inappropriate stuff, and a knife? How is any of this gonna help you? I mean, that is definitely the kind of thing that you phone the police for, right? So what exactly did he expect to happen? Like I said, I will never be able to wrap my brain around the thought process of some of these people. I mean, I am glad that the dad changed his mind and saw how serious the situation actually was and then got involved. I'm glad the Redditor is safe, but I can also fully understand that this was an extremely traumatic experience, and that is gonna have a lasting impact, probably. I feel so sorry for the Redditor. I feel so sorry that the Redditor had to deal with this, and then at the end of it all, she still feels guilty for Robert because he might be getting deported. After all of that. Alright, you guys, that was it for tonight's scary stories. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did and you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and leaving a comment down below. It really helps. Thank you guys so much for choosing to hang out with me again tonight, and I hope I will see you in next week's video. For now though, all there is left